Hello everyone. So this is a quick video kind of reviewing an article I came across on apartment therapy. And the writer is talking about Ina Garten and how she organizes her pantry. I thought it was kind of funny, and also a good way to kind of answer some questions about kitchen organizing at the same time. So I'm just gonna go through and discuss the points that this writer for apartment therapy raised. And so to give you a little bit of background, she says she moved into a home that has a small pantry. She'd never had a pantry before, and eventually the pantry just became a catch-all, which most of us probably know what a catch-all is. You might have a junk drawer, but their pantry was just a place where they would throw random items if they didn't know where those items went. And so the pantry wasn't really reserved for food, which that kind of made my hairs stand on end a little bit. But because literally, believe it or not, I've never seen that. I have never, and I've worked with hundreds of people, never seen anyone use their pantry in the kitchen in that way. Um, but let's keep reading. So, she came across Ina Garten's Pinterest, and Ina was saying that she organizes her pantry like once a year to get rid of things that are expired, that sort of thing. Or in the spring, she says, and so she tosses everything with expired sell by dates, and because it so her whole reason for doing that is because it actually saves time while cooking, which is very true. So if you have everything together and if you know where things are, I of course recommend getting your ingredients together before you begin cooking. But it saves you time, like the whole process. If you know where things are, if certain spices for certain cuisines are grouped together, for example, it's a good thing. You'll spend less time, looking for stuff, then going out to buy duplicates because you think you don't have it, but it's really at the back of the drawer or the cabinet. Um, yeah. So I agree with Ina on that. But back to this writer person for apartment therapy. So she was impressed by how neat, and not only neat and practical, but accessible Ina Garten's pantry was. So it wasn't just aesthetically pretty, which is important, but it was very accessible. And honestly, that's kind of like a thing for me, like one of my glitches, because like if you look at some of my in under the story highlights, some of my work samples, the kitchens, a couple of them, like they, to me, I organize them in a way, and I always do organize in a way that suits the client's lifestyle so that they know where everything is. They know how to put it back. It's going to be easy for them to maintain whatever I've done. Sometimes that doesn't look like it's attractive and it looks neat, but it's not like a catalog staged photo. And that's a difference. Like if you're in organizing or well, yeah, organizing, things can look picture perfect but impractical, or things can be neat and practical but not like ideally positioned for like photo purposes. And it's similar, like think of food photography. So like food looks good in photos, but if you just cook something and take a picture of it half the time, like it might be bubbling, or like, you know, I don't know, like it might look greasy. Whereas like the staged food photo usually has like glue, hairspray, maybe like pins in it to keep everything, like the piece of lettuce in the perfect place. So organizing is a lot like that. Although I do tend to I'm like very driven by aesthetics. So like I go the extra mile to find something that's functional and aesthetic. In 99% of all cases, it's going to be well, in those 99% of cases it's going to be like picture perfect, um but also functional for the client. Takes extra work, but I don't mind because I'm like, I choose to be that. It's just the way I am. Okay. So um back to the article. So this person is saying that she liked how accessible things are and how Ina Garten's pantry doesn't look perfect, but it is very organized, it's very neat, and it's very practical. So she leaves the food in original packaging. And she doesn't necessarily do all the cute matching drawers and the chalkboard labels, which I do sell, by the way. um and you know what, I'm kind of like, I can go in either direction on that. Sometimes you can't, I think it's perfectly fine to leave things in the original packaging. Other times, again, it adds aesthetic value, and it's also functional to take it out of the packaging. um so I'm gonna skip though and get to this person's takeaways that they got from organizing their pantry and give commentary. So her number one takeaway is everything needs to be in sight. I 100% agree. And again, if you'll notice, so I organized a friend's cabinet, and I don't know if I mentioned in, no, I didn't because it was a still photo, but I made things so that my friend could I think I made them so that she's not as tall as I am. So I tried to make things so that she could see them, and access them, like know what's in the back of the cabinet without having to get on a step stool or like a small ladder or something. But just like standing from her position, she can see what's in there. And so again, that gets back to things being organized in a way that may not necessarily have everything at the exact same perfect height, for example, but you can neatly arrange it so that you can still see everything. I'm very big on that. Because if you don't see things, you're gonna buy duplicates. You're just gonna leave it back there. It's gonna go bad. It'll take up space. Next thing you know, you've got like a bunch of stuff on your counters that when you really have like room in the drawers, if you knew what was back there and could throw it away or use it or whatever the case may be. I'm ranting. Um so sight is like a big thing for me too. Number two, it's okay to leave things in their original packages. Already touched on that a little bit. Boxes, sure. Um Bags, now my thing, I don't like to leave things that come in bags in the original packaging, because the bag, as you use the product, um which check out my post from moving in the client in Brooklyn, um in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. So the bags take up space, and unless you clip them or like rubber band them, you're gonna have bag, like the unused portion of the bag, taking up space. That is why I say for certain bulk items, better to just transfer them to a stackable jar, a container, something that's got like a geometric shape so that it's not like all like unfurled and taking up space. So, number three, spices can go in the pantry. At first I cringed, but she has a point. So this person could not fit all of her spices in the cabinet. Do not feel pressured to do that. If she were my client, I would take her spices out of the cabinet, create a spice section within the pantry, or just do like a nice, beautiful spice kind of display on the counter with like the spice organizers, depending on the situation. Perfectly fine to put spices in the pantry. I'm an all or nothing type of person. I don't like to put half the spices here, half of them there. Um, but to each his her own. Number four, storage baskets may be necessary. Absolutely. Like, yeah. So storage baskets keep things neater. If you have storage baskets on the shelf, even if you just throw things up there, it's going to be neater because the baskets will keep things in line, as I like to say. Keep things gathered, collected, versus just having like an open shelf and things thrown in place or out of place, whatever. And number five, you need a plan to keep things up. 100% true. If you don't live alone, you definitely need a plan. You need to go over like the new locations of things with people. Labels are great. A person feels bad if they're putting something back in a place that's labeled for something else. Just get a plan so that you can put things in place, and so that you remember what you've done, because that's another thing. And yeah, planning is everything with staying organized. So that's my review of this article. I'm going to be doing more of these because I kind of like these. On that note, I'll see you in the next video. Take care and be well. Bye now.